Oh, yep.
As you can imagine, if a cod sees this bait side on, even if it's following,
Make sure it, oh, yep. Oh.
we'll start with this one, which looks very similar. This,
Look at that. Cool fella.
click it in, you hear a click on the underside, and this is the Baitsanity Explorer gill. So I've been using this bait for a long time now, and I guess there hasn't really been a good explanation of the whole Bait Connect system or how I fish this bait and why it is so effective. So I thought I'd take the time today to run through Bait Connect and a few ways on how to fish this bait. So by Bait Connect, you'll notice the tail on a standard bait, that's how it comes, has a soft tail. Bait Connect system is a little connector inside here. You're able to slide that forward and you push the tail up and off. Now, with a standard tail, that bait would have had a nice side to side, very sort of standard glide bait action. By simply changing the tail, we'll start with this one, which looks very similar. This is called a torment tail. So now we have a much bigger profile bait compared to standard, but with this torment tail, with the double joint that's in there, you've now basically created a swim bait. And this has a really wide, very slow, super slow actually, wide S. You can literally creep this along with that torment tail, and that is what I like to do. This is my sort of go-to tail in impoundments for really big cod, is that torment, because I can just creep that along so slow, keep it in the zone, and I know that at any speed, that thing is going to be swimming. Right on to the next one that's probably a bit more standard for most people. As part of the Bait Connect, each bait has its own PT 3.0. PT stands for paddle tail. These are color coded to suit the bait. So that one there is actually yellow belly, designed to match the yellow belly EG6. And as you can tell from this one, it's already caught a bunch of fish. Same deal, Bait Connect system. You can see the groove in there. Slide it in, click it in, you hear a click. On the underside, you need to just make sure that you push that lock across so that it is locked. As you can tell, that is the perfect match. So that is what we call just a standard PT 3.0, the paddle tail, and they're all designed to actually match the color of the lure. In saying that, what we do like to do is grab a tail from another colorway. So this tail is from the Alpha Explorer Gill 6 or EG6, but when you put it on a pattern like the female bluegill, look at that. Now basically you have a very natural, very good looking bait, but with a little bite trigger on the end. It's amazing what that little yellow tail will do to a Murray cod. When you're running a PT, the action on this is also, it's a little bit drawn in. So with a standard tail or a fin shaped tail, you don't have a rearward drag on the bait, so the bait will keep nice and wide. When you're on a paddle tail, you're creating a little bit of drag and resistance, so it's going to pull the tail of this bait in a little bit tighter, and at super slow speeds, this bait is literally only going to rock, but the paddle tail is going to be swimming away. And if you're running a chin weight on the front of that, as it's falling down, that paddle tail is swimming away. You can tell just by when I'm holding it, that thing is super supple. But by mixing and matching the colours, you now have a shocking contrast tail and a little bite trigger for Murray cod. So if you want to go next level on the shocking contrast, if you check out the bite marks in this thing, this is the colour that I've actually been fishing. So that's the female bluegill, same as before. That is actually goldfish's paddle tail. Doesn't look that good, I guess. Bit of a contrast, but that has been really getting the attention of the cod. And when you watch that bright orange tail swimming along, it is crazy. You can see that from a long way away. So that paddle tail is designed to match this guy. That is goldfish. One of the other tails in the Bait Connect system that I really do like is the Atom tail. Very unique bait, like nothing else. This has little soft fins, top and bottom, which really swim along. But this ball that is held on there is to identify as the atom, which is why it's called the atom tail. But once that starts thumping, this bait creates such a big wide thumping action at super slow speeds. Same as before, utilising the bait connect. Click that in. Very, very natural looking. Doesn't increase the presence or the size of this bait, but these little fluffy bits on the end really waft in the current or in the action when you're swimming. But this bait will now go very, very slow. You can really wind this slow, and once that ball throws out, it just keeps throwing out. And it doesn't actually create a drag on the bait like a paddle tail will. It has a reverse effect and actually forces the head to go side to side and allows you, I should say, to swim this bait at super slow speeds, but have a bigger thump and a bigger presence in the water. So that's the atom tail. So you notice another thing that is unique about the Baitsanity range and the Explorer range is these black pads in here. They're actually what you call silencer pads. So when this bait goes side to side, there is no clicking and clucking like a standard swim bait. Those silicone pads prevent any plastic on plastic or ABS on ABS, so there is no noise in this bait. What you can also do to pimp them up a little bit more, so just show you, that's the black. They also come in a red. So we might as well do this one now while we're sitting here. So what we'll do is we'll peel these black ones off and we'll put the red ones on just to show you. They're actually relatively difficult to get off, believe it or not. Try and get a lot of that old sticker off, prevent the new one falling off. Grab a red one, peel the backing off. Now with it aligned open, I like to align the back and sort of just let it sit there, and we can press that into place. Now, as you can imagine, if a cod sees this bait side on, even if it's following, you're going to have the opening and closing of this bait as it's swimming, and that red, especially in clear water like where we are now, is really going to be a bite trigger and cause a response from the Murray Cod. Instead of just black, which looks very subtle, very natural, you switch over to this side. Now we have possibly an injured fish or just some sort of flashing there of the red, extra flash to force a bite. Very sexy indeed. Might as well do the other side quick. So now we have both sides, quick and easy. Both sides has that red trigger. In the unlikely circumstance that you do lose a standard one, or you want to change back from red to black, they do have black ones available. I think in all the years of fishing the Explorer gill, and the amount of cod that I've caught, I have lost one silencer pad ever. And I'm not sure that wasn't from me putting it on the wrong way. So this is a bass colorway, standard color, and these are standard hooks. These hooks and these rings, terminal tackle that's on here, will catch Murray cod. However, as you all know, I like to upgrade pretty much everything that I do. So what I like to do, I'm running solid ring to split ring. That just gives me a free point on the lure and allows me to split ring the baits off whenever I want. We're then running the tungsten stick-on weights just to get it down a little bit more. As well as that, I'm changing the trebles. So these look excessively big, but when you think of the size of a big cod, even some of the smaller cod, they eat this thing whole. And if you run smaller hooks, when they suck it in and then they go to spit it out, a smaller hook might not grab that fish on the way out or not get enough purchase. So I'm running a 1-0 on the front and a 1 on the rear. You'll also notice with these, you're very unlikely to straighten a hook at all with this because they have the built-in swivel for the treble. So there's no way for that treble to torsion when you're fighting a fish. So that's also another bonus. So right now, for an example, I'm just going to show you the torment tail. It's the simplest and easiest tail to use, apart from the standard tail. Basically, they're both going to have the same action and the same retrieve. So what I'm going to do in this scenario, basically casting it out, and then as soon as it hits the water, if it's a little bit deeper, I'll let it sink, but otherwise the retrieve is very simple, just a nice, steady, slow retrieve. And that lure is going to be having a nice wide S. You can actually see my rod tip bouncing backwards and forwards from the action of the torment, pulling it left and right. So with the PT paddle tail, like I said, it will slow down or control the action of the bait with that little bit of resistance. So what I like to do in scenarios like this, where I've got a physical structure that I can see, and you notice from a lot of my videos, you'll see me doing this, is I cast out near something, there's a bit of a rock out there, and then just by popping my handle, that is making that gill dart from side to side. And because it moves, just bumped into a rock, because it moves so quick at the dart, the paddle tail like really kicks and really draws their attention. And then once I've done that around that bit of structure, I'll just start into like a nice steady roll, and that'll eventually tighten up that wobble, and you'll just be bringing in basically just a swimming fish that's wobbling a little bit and just that paddle tail kicking away. What I have noticed when I have a cod follow on like a standard retrieve and he didn't commit, if I really bounce the rod and twitch my handle pretty hard, that lure darts so erratically, and that forces them, instead of just looking at the bait, they really do smack that bait then. So I don't do that all the time because obviously it's a lot of work. But if I know there's a cod there, or I had a cod follow one cast and he didn't commit on a standard retrieve, that is what I do to get them triggered so that they bite. So that is about it. That is the Baitsanity Explorer Gill EG6, and a run through of the Bait Connect system, how I fish it, all the different tail variations, plus those different silencer pads, why I use them. So you have so many different options in one bait. You get yourself one Baitsanity Explorer Gill 6 and get a few different tails. You have so many different baits. You can modify it to fish deep water, shallow water, slow, fast, whatever you want to do.
Oh, it's got belted. Yeah.
You just get it here.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yes. Yeah, it's here. Up you come, buddy. Whee! Look at that. Nice. Female bluegill, goldfish tail. What a pattern.